again, thank you so much for your time. And just to get started, I'll give you just a brief introduction of what we're doing here. So we're a school team from Dhirubhai Ambani International School, and basically our initiative is, of course, the management of e-waste. And again, we're targeting two verticals: awareness and management itself. It's quite surprising to see even people in our age group who are not aware of the detrimental effects of e-waste itself. And of course, across the board, there is a general lack of awareness. So we're going to be conducting seminars, interviews, etc., just to get a better picture of the industry and what goes on behind the scenes, and so we can impact the world itself and most people as possible. Should we get started with some of the questions?
Yeah, sure.
So could you give us an overview of Eco-Reco's mission and the e-waste management services you provide?
So Eco-Reco is primarily into electronic waste recycling. We are also into lithium-ion battery recycling. So as you must have heard about EPR while researching about electronic waste recycling. EPR is something called as extended producer responsibility. That is, the government has mandated every producer, importer, brand owner, manufacturer, bulk consumer of electronic device that when this electronic device comes to the end of its life, you need to purchase credits through the means of certificates from a registered recycler. So this entire process is governed and managed by CPCB, also known as the Central Pollution Control Board, which is the regulatory authority when it comes to the recycling segment. So you must have heard about that, and what Eco-Reco does is it has a take-back mechanism. It reaches out to the producers and collects e-waste. This is what was done prior to EPR coming into picture through the means of a portal. We used to collect electronic waste from the producers, recycle it, and provide them certificates on that behalf by dismantling and shredding it. For items that were refurbishable or remarketable, we used to just sell it in the market and try to retrieve some value. Similarly, of that sort, when EPR came into picture, the producers itself reached out to Eco Recycling Limited to get hold of the entire process and to purchase credits. In that sort, they also deposited their electronic devices and purchased equivalent credits. This is how Eco Recycling works in terms of both electronic waste as well as battery waste.
Also, if your net continues to be a problem, then it's fine. Otherwise, if possible, could you please switch on your camera since we're recording this? And
I will switch it on, but I'm sure it's going to drop again.
Okay. If it drops again,
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just switch it on for now. If it drops, I'll switch it off. Works?
Thank you. Secondly, we conducted a couple of interviews with business owners, and we found out that a lot of people don't know what happens to e-waste after it's recycled, and there's not a lot of awareness in the public about what happens after processing. So in layman's language, can you tell us a little bit about this, please?
In a very layman's language, you're getting electronic waste. The first step, what kind of the weightage that has, then segregating it into different components. Then the process of recycling and shredding begins. Once it's completely broken down, it comes out in the form of finished goods or metals, which is later sold into the market. These are also called as the rare earth or precious metals. There are certain kind of metals for which recovery needs to be done, and for that exports needs to be carried out, and that is sent abroad. Because certain kind of exports are really costly when it comes to doing it in India. So those kind of metal refinery and precious metal recovery is done out of India. This is how we get our finished goods, and then this is resold in the market in whatever form. If it needs to be further refurnished, then it is done by the recycler in the next step. So more like an integration, forward integration.
Okay, understood. So following up on that question, can you describe the process that Eco-Reco in specific follows, basically from collection, like when you collect the e-waste, to actually recycling it?
When we collect the e-waste to actually recycling it, it depends upon what kind of e-waste it is. So there are 106 items, right, from IT to small consumer equipments, large consumer equipments, medical devices, etc. So once that is collected, every item has a different form of segregation and dismantling that's done. For example, if it's some kind of XYZ item which can be directly shredded, it's done by that form. If there is an item which is broken down into numerous components, the first step is manually breaking it, opening it, dividing the components, and then further recycling it. So it depends upon it depends from component to component.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. So in your experience as the largest e-waste recycling company in India, have you identified any trends regarding like age group or socioeconomic backgrounds, or like any specific sectors in general that contribute to the most e-waste generation?
So majorly, we believe bulk consumers would be corporates. As a result of which, I think whenever, even you guys would know, whenever an employee leaves, any kind of assets that are given to that employee goes away for recycling. Even if one laptop is given to the employee quits, that laptop has to go to a recycler because the company would not use it again. At least big companies, big MNCs. So I believe those are the major contributors of electronic waste. But what you don't see is that every household has number of electronic devices around you. Even a switch, a router, Wi-Fi booster, iPad, charger, cable, your phone. This is what constitutes of every household. And if we sum that up, I believe even domestic consumers or households are also large generators of electronic waste, and as a result of which awareness of what you guys are doing is really important.
Okay.
So, next question. What are the biggest challenges that are faced in the e-waste industry today?
Today is the lack of awareness being the it tops everything off, is that the new generation that's coming, they're still aware of what electronic waste is, but there are not many people acting upon it. They don't know what to do with that charger or that earphone that's just lying around in their houses, what to do about that, how to discard that. They just give it to people or they just dump it in landfills, which really leads to contamination of soil, water, as well as the air.
That's exactly what we got as a result of our survey. We found